What up, everybody? It's your boy Decal, host of the E.I.H.R podcast. Listen, are you trying to promote your brand? Whether it is your podcast, whether it's your jewelry, whether it's a music, whatever the case may possibly be. Listen, business cards are a thing of the past now. Okay? What you want to do is you want to go ahead and get yourself a follow. Okay? It's really, really simple. Give your market a more direct, instant connection to your brand. Simply tap and connect, just like that. Next time you're having a conversation with somebody, instead of them having to enter in your phone number and name, you take your popper, you tap their phone, and your information is digitally transferred to their device. Whether it's your Instagram, your Facebook, your storefront, it doesn't matter. Listen, go to the E.I.H.R Instagram page, find the highlight, get the promo code, save when you purchase. Let's get it poppin'.
You're listening to the E.I.H.R podcast with your host, Decal.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It's Decal here to E.I.H.R podcast in Northern California from the HQ for GNS. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a really good weekend. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in right now across the globe. Arizona, California, Oregon, Texas, Florida, New Zealand, Australia, Tokyo, Italy, and everywhere in between. So if you're new to the podcast, the E.I.H.R podcast stands for The Elephant in the Room, where we talk about different subjects and issues and topics that you normally would not be able to have within your small circle of people who tend to be one-sided or very short-sighted. If you follow us on social media, or if you don't follow us on social media, you should, at the E.I.H.R, T-H-E, E-I.T.H.R. You can also find us on TikTok for the parent company, which is the GNS Inc., T-H-E-G-N-S INC. So for those of you who have listened to the podcast, welcome to episode number 84. Appreciate your time and everything going on. So we got a guest in the building today. We're going to save that for a little bit later. She's warming up right now. She's doing laps around the building so she can run circles in this interview, if you will. So anyone who's new to the podcast, this is what we do. We like to do a shout out to everybody, and we like to do inspirational, motivational, because there's a lot of bullshit going out into the world. So we want to make sure that there's at least some type of positivity going on in your world from this podcast here. So the first thing I want to do is to give a shout out to everybody out there who's having a rough time in your personal life, business life, or anything in between. Understand something. You're going to make it. You truly, as cliche as that may sound, you guys are going to make it. And there's a post that I had put earlier that I want to share with some of you guys. And that post goes as follows. A person who doesn't defend you while someone slanders you is your enemy too. You guys, listen. If someone talks behind your back, you shouldn't necessarily get upset with the person who's talking. You might want to question the people that they're talking to and why they're so comfortable to speaking bad upon you, right? And I've always told people that if I got the balls to say it behind your back, it's because I've already said it to your face already. And if I would not say something to your face, then I'm definitely going to say it behind your back. And anyone who knows me on a personal level knows that that's just pretty much as accurate as you're going to get from me. So a lot of people do not feel comfortable talking bad about other people around me because they know that I will call them out, or I will change the subject, or simply say, if they're not here to defend themselves, what's the point of this conversation? Okay? Simple as that. So whatever you're going through, muscle through it. And if someone's talking shit about somebody else behind their back, dead it. Because if they're going to talk about someone behind their back, what do you think they're going to do behind yours? Kind of common sense, right? So we're going to speak to our guests in a quick second about a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch of stuff, but there's a few things that we probably had conversations on. We're going to share some light on what she does a little bit, but we're not going to get too much into detail with it because it's still a surprise for the world. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get a shout out real quick, and we'll be right back from the E.I.T.H.R podcast. It's your boy D-Cal. Hang in, stay tuned.
This is Sarah from Northern Cali, and you're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with D-Cal.
What up, everyone? So, in the building right now, you may have heard that little drop before I came back. Sarah in Northern Cali. She is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and give her a round of applause. That was for you. How are you doing, miss?
I'm doing well.
How was life treating you?
No complaints?
No complaint? Well, I mean, we all can complain, but who's going to be listening?
It's not my style.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, you have this thing going on with DoorDash. And let me tell the world right now that I do DoorDash as well. So, that's how we communicate in the beginning. That's how we got to know each other. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you also have something brewing in the future that we can mention just to kind of plant that seed. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. So, Sarah, why don't you tell the world a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how did you come about doing delivery gigs? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it?
So I am a corporate, I was a lifetime corporate employee. And being a hamster on the wheel, after 15 years in the game, I just realized that there was a lot more to life than that. And so I made a big drastic move back in 2018 and decided to start working for myself. And that included driving for Lyft initially. And so driving passengers around, and it was amazing. It was a big switch from being in an office all day, but just the interactions with strangers, it's something that I can't compare to anything else that I've done in life.
It's like an office on wheels.
Yeah, and
to a degree.
Almost a psychology, like a psychiatrist office sometimes too. Like get the couch out in the back seat and I'll chat with you.
Right.
And so that inched me into making my own schedule, doing my own thing, and then I moonlighted over into food delivery. For me, the pay was better, so I decided to jump into that full force. And now I've got my iron in the fire in a bunch of different spots in food delivery. I'm enjoying it.
When it comes to the food delivery, what type, is there like certain restaurants you prefer? Like, do you have a certain type of, not a specific restaurant, but like a type of restaurant? Like, do you prefer fast food? Do you prefer like sit-down restaurants, soul food restaurant? Do you prefer taco trucks? Like, is there anything that you prefer for any particular reason?
I would say, sit-down, dine-in restaurants that are a little more upscale. Not like 5-star, but maybe
3.5.
Star,
okay.
Yeah, 3-star dining. Because, the customer service is better, the attention to detail is better.
Right.
And, the volume of the order is usually better for me.
Like the portion of food, like is usually more food being ordered, so the amount is more.
Right.
more compensation type of thing.
Right.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this again?
So gig work in general,
Mm-hmm.
September of 2018. Food delivery, I switched into the beginning of 2019.
Okay. So we're, 3 years?
4.
Going in 4 years? Wow. So obviously you like it.
I do.
Enough.
I love the freedom of being able to work my day.
Right.
I live not to work anymore. I work just to live.
Right. It's one of those things where since you get to make the schedule, you get to determine where you go versus same building, same address, same room, same scene. The only thing that may change is the customers. Like in a corporate room, in a corporate office, in a corporate setting.
Yeah.
But here, the scenery literally changes every single day because of where you might be taken to.
Right, or where I choose
Where
to
you
go
choose
if
to.
I'm doing something pre-scheduled.
Now, when it comes to like DoorDash specifically, right? So have you mainly done Northern California? Have you went anywhere else in the state? Have you traveled out?
You're dipping into my future ventures.
Okay. Never mind.
No, it's cool. I'm happy to talk about it. So, as of right now, yes, predominantly the Sacramento area.
Okay.
I did about a week up in Humboldt last year, but other than that, predominantly 916-530. Is that the other one?
Mm-hmm. Is there a certain part in Sacramento area that you prefer more because of whatever reason?
Definitely.
Okay.
And I would say it's probably not the norm, but I prefer the heart of downtown.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people freak out about parking.
Right.
How am I going to get to the 14th floor of this building? To
Right.
Get this $200 order dropped off. Bring it on. That's my thing.
Yeah. See, me, I love downtown. Now, I love downtown more when, unfortunately, the COVID restrictions was like heavy intact, right? Because it was less cars, less people on the road. Parking was a little bit easier because everyone was home or working from home. Then I would say Roseville, every now and then. Roseville, downtown, Folsom. I like those areas. And the reason I like those because it's usually where there's less dashers willing to work. Unless there's some type of incentive, like major incentive. But for the most part, that's kind of where I go. And like you, more sit-down restaurant, fast food restaurants, if I do not have to go inside. Just because I don't want to get out the car and go inside and deal with whatever's going on in most of the lobbies. So there's quite a few McDonald's that require you to come inside. It's really annoying because I just want to stay in my car versus turning it off, turning it back on. Because gas prices are like college tuition, damn near, right? So I'm trying to avoid that issue, but I feel you. Is there a certain spot in Sac that you would, if had the opportunity, would love to travel to work, and you just haven't made it there yet?
No. I mean, I feel like even though I don't really like go heavy in certain areas, I've pretty much in the Sacramento area. I think I've covered my bases for the most part. There's definitely neighborhoods that I'm more comfortable with than others.
Right.
And I mean, parking is honestly a huge thing if you're in this line of work. Like you said, you don't like getting out of your car. I don't mind getting out of my car, but I want to be able to get back in my car and get out of the parking lot
with no problems.
Spot quick and easy.
Right.
So that's a big factor. But as far as areas in Sacramento, I feel like I've covered it for the most part. Now the outskirts, not as much. Folsom, Cameron Park, Lodi,
Mm-hmm.
not so much, but Sacramento.
Yeah, like I said, when I started dashing initially, it was in the Bay Area, and then when I moved back to Sacramento, I would commute, and then I said to myself, you know what? I can make Bay Area money basically in Sac if you just know where to go, when to go. But then again, DoorDash was a little bit different back then.
Right.
It was a lot different back then. So, to everyone who's listening to this right now, you kind of got the gist of the perks about DoorDash. Now we're about to get into some fun shit with DoorDash. So, what's one of the biggest changes that you have noticed, Sarah, with DoorDash since you've been doing it for like the last year or two? I know there's like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Just
biggest change.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the biggest changes.
I would say maybe oversaturation of market. A year ago, I would turn on my app and get ready for my day, and pretty much I wouldn't see more than 2 or 3 minutes between each order. I would drop somebody's food off, and within a couple minutes, I would, have my next offer coming up on the screen. Now there's days where, I know you and I have talked about it, I get out of my car and walk around the parking lot because I'm waiting for 15 minutes. And
getting your steps in.
Yeah, get a quick walk in real quick. And not really what I want. I want it to be, one after the next. But, so yeah, I'd say maybe oversaturation might be one of the biggest.
Right.
And then probably coming in, this has always been an issue, but I think as time goes on, it becomes more of a pain point, and that is just the technology of the app itself.
Oh, you mean their updates? Because you love the updates.
I don't know if that's what I'd want to call it, because the wind can blow from the northeastern direction, and I'm not able to log in sometimes.
Word.
I don't know if it's updates. I think it's maybe just the technology in general isn't up to what it needs to be with millions of people, or at least thousands of people on the platform all the
Hundreds
time.
of thousands,
Yeah.
Tens of thousands, right. I would probably go with saturation. I would say their compensation is probably the biggest. And I'm sure that goes hand in hand, because I remember a time when Saturdays and Sundays, like Saturday mornings, at one point matched my Fridays. It was ridiculous. I knew at 6 o'clock, I was mad because I didn't log in at 5. And then by the time 11 o'clock hit, I'm like, damn, this is what I made from Friday afternoon, Friday night. And I think since they got those investors, compensation changed. Because there used to be a lot of $3, $4 peak pay.
Right.
Now it's $1.50. We get super excited if we see a $2.
Yeah. I saw 3 yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, 3 is so rare nowadays. I think this is during the time where you said that you weren't dashing.
Right. Can we put a caveat on this before we move on?
Mm-hmm.
That you and I are speaking about California, because some of your other listeners,
that's true.
maybe
Yeah.
in the gig
For
world,
California, yes, this is for California door dashing. Some of you guys outstay as much as you hate us because of you ain't us. I'm sure there's some things you guys can relate to for as the compensation that they offer, but here in Northern California, yes. And I remember Saturday mornings, $4.50, $5, easy.
Yeah, I think we are in a really favorable position with base pay fluctuating, though, because
True.
Almost every state on the East Coast
Yeah.
has a set $250 or $275 base pay,
Right.
whether or not you drive 2 miles or 8 miles.
Yeah.
And and we're fortunate to kind of have a fluctuation of based on mileage and size of order. We're going to see the base pay or what DoorDash is paying us.
Right.
If you're not familiar with what base pay is. So
Right.
what DoorDash is offering us per order is going to fluctuate.
I'm wondering if people coming from out of state into California too has anything to do with saturation.
I feel like people are leaving California.
Or I should say, more people creating accounts in California.
Oh.
That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
Because some of the accounts maybe even getting deactivated, so they're having like burner account, backup accounts. I don't know how they regulate that, but I don't understand how it is getting so saturated in a time, like you said, where a lot of people are migrating out of California more than before. So yeah, that's what I would say. One of the biggest things that I've noticed is we also had conversation about when it comes to this Top Dasher thing. Now, right, you and I had this conversation. It's kind of how solidified our relationship was this topic right here.
Right.
To those who do not know, Top Dasher is certain criteria that you have to meet with DoorDash to become a Top Dasher. And as of right now, it's like 70% acceptance rate. You know, the orders that you guys do accept. A 95 completion rate. 100 orders for that month with a lifetime minimum of 200. And you got to have a customer rating of 4.7 or higher.
You got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody out there who is a top decliner, there is this stigma about Top Dashers taking crappy orders. First and foremost, your financial situation differs from my financial situation. This is different from Sarah's financial situation. You have this theory about Top Dashers and the different type of orders they get compared to decliners and the peak pay and all that fun stuff, and how it's just this web of different theories.
Yeah, lots of them.
That we got, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you feel that being a Top Dasher makes a big difference when it comes to the orders that we receive?
I do. And I think after the Diamond program, which if you're familiar with DoorDash, I know it's not in all markets yet, but once that came into our area, I think even more so it makes a difference if you are, as you mentioned, above that 70% acceptance rate.
Right.
The types of orders that you're getting.
Now, DoorDash has a criteria when it comes to receiving Diamond orders. What is that criteria?
Well, first of all, Diamond orders are different in every state. So in California, to make the criteria to be a Diamond order, it means that for every mile you're going to drive for your order, you're going to make $3 plus. Some states it's $1.50 to be a Diamond. Some it's $2. So California, $3. To like bump yourself into Diamond status, you have to have at least a 50% acceptance rate. And then kind of tier 2 of Diamond is 70 and above.
Okay.
But you and I have some other theories on that too.
Yes. Now, do we want to share those theories here?
Yeah, I mean, I think just because the app itself leans us to believe that there's something different that happens at 80%, because DoorDash changes colors on your screen when you hit 80%. You go from yellow, which means caution,
right,
to green, and I mean green is all systems go in my book.
Right, green's what we're going after, right?
Yeah.
Right, makes sense. I've noticed a difference at 85. So I'm curious. I'm trying to even remember when I was at 90. Did I notice a frequency or frequent? What's the word I'm looking for? Orders coming in more frequently of a certain dollar amount, certain diamond orders at 90. So it seems to make it to the top dash of 70%, you kind of got to go through, it seems like hazing.
Yeah.
So
That's a good analogy.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you're going through this hazing to get these orders, which, trust me, it's garbage.
But most people don't have the stamina for that.
They
hazing.
really don't.
Right.
They don't have, they want to be on the team, but they don't want to do the two-a-days.
Right.
Right? They want to shoot the hoop, but they don't want to run lines.
Right.
Right? They don't want to do the drills.
Right.
So, I think the higher your acceptance rates become, the better the orders are. Now, I also think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, the frequentness of the higher orders might not be as common as what some would consider crappy order. But that's all subjective, right? Like a crappy order to somebody might be $7 for 3 miles.
Right. I just had this conversation
Really?
with someone from the Bay Area. Just this exact conversation.
Listen, a crappy order to you may not be a crappy order to the next person, right? Because if I'm already going in that direction, that's not a bad order, especially if it's like 1 item, 2 items. Can you talk about the conversation that you have with the person from the Bay Area?
Yeah, so, well, first off, he drives a Tesla.
Okay, right there.
So his criteria is, I thought, would be a little more lenient than mine because he's not paying for gas.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it seems as though he's putting more weight on tearing up his car.
Really?
So we literally were just talking about this over the weekend. He posted online a screenshot of a 0.9 mile order. So less than one.
Mile, right.
$4.25. And he had all these like boo, never, trash, decline, blah, blah, blah.
Really?
Right. And so you and I do the math on that, and we know that that's over $4 a mile.
And people want to do $2 a mile, right. $3 a mile.
And
right.
if it's a restaurant that, for a time of the day when I know I'm going to run in, grab the food, and run out.
Mm-hmm.
Not run, but...
Right. Briskly walk. Right. Great minds, man.
So I'm going to turn that 0.9 mile offer over in like 7 minutes.
Minimum.
Yeah. So, we went back and forth a little bit about it, and
mm-hmm.
he says his minimum is $7. But then we started talking about where he dashes at, and he dashes in Fremont.
Okay.
Which, for you and I to drive 0.9, probably takes us, like I said, 6 minutes.
6-7 minutes.
He said normally he doesn't get anything done under 10 minutes.
Probably because of traffic.
Right.
Okay.
And the time of day that he's out there.
Right, that makes sense.
So I know that sounds petty, like we're saying we can turn over in 6, he's saying 10. But if you add that up, if you're taking 12, 15 orders a day,
mm-hmm.
and you're adding 4 minutes to every single order, I mean, I kind of get it.
I kind of get it.
But, I mean, I've snatched a $4.25 order before. Do I want to? No.
No.
But if it's slow, sure.
If you're not getting anything,
yeah,
and it's a short distance,
yeah,
why not?
And I will say, for you and I, in the criteria that we're in, green,
right,
80,
right.
Just what we've learned over the years, chances are when you grab that $4 order, DoorDash is going to say thank you, and they might send you another order
like an add-on.
Same restaurant,
right?
At the same moment that you're walking in, and now I'm walking out with a bag worth $4.25 and a bag worth $7. So
right, because that's happened to me where I got what some would call a crappy order. Mm-hmm. As I'm walking into the restaurant, here comes an add-on for $11, $12, $17. Right. I'm like, damn. This $4, $5, $6, $7, then turn into a $22, $23, $24, $25 order.
Right.
and it's all going in a general direction.
Right.
How do you now in California? We also have active time, right? Explain what active time is for people who don't know in California, and for anyone who's listening, who's going to eventually, possibly, get active time in their market. How does that work?
So there are states that are already offering outside of California, because we're kind of on our own island.
Our own bubble.
Yeah, we have a proposition that passed that
Mm-hmm.
is differently, but some states offer drivers to choose at the beginning of their shift if they want to get paid by order or get paid by hour. And
Gotcha.
DoorDash tells them what their hourly pay is, and it's different, obviously, based on minimum wage across the country. So some other states are starting to be more cognizant of active time.
Mm-hmm.
But for you and I and everyone else in California, we get an offset, thanks to Proposition 22.
Thank you.
For the time that we're on the clock, basically.
Right.
So if we have accepted an order and we're on our way, picking it up, and on our way to our customer, any time within that time frame, we're considered active.
Right.
Now, when I'm sitting in a parking lot waiting for orders and I'm signed in, I'm on the clock, but I'm not considered
You're not active.
So I'm not getting paid for that. But yeah, anytime I'm moving, it's considered active time. And so for us in California, keeping that active time going is putting even more money in our pockets than what is showing us on our screen for our offer, because we are getting offset by Proposition 22.
Now, here's one thing that bothers me, annoys me. When you try to explain this to certain people, and especially those who live in your state, they don't want to hear that. None of that matters to them.
Yeah.
Because all they're looking for is the dollar amount of the order.
Well, it's easy that way, right? There's no math in
There's no math in that, right? So I'm the kind of person where I not only want to look at the now, but I also want to look at the future.
Right.
It's called compound interest.
Yeah.
Right? So if it costs me this much to complete this order, and I'm also going to make this much for taking the order, ultimately you're making more than what you see on the screen. It's just in two separate parts. Right? And over the week, that active time adds up to what DoorDash calls top up, right?
Sure.
But isn't that what they?
I think they changed their verbiage on a regular basis. But
okay.
Yes, I think you and I have both gotten emails referring to it as top up, which
right?
Is confusing. But.
Which I never like. So what's that? But yeah, that's what that is. So what the top up is, again, is your additional pay that you get every single week from DoorDash, if you have that perk in your market, which I think you said California were the only one that have that, right?
Right. Washington's working on it.
Washington's working on
right
it
now, but
okay.
We're the only one that has that. And let's not forget mileage, right? So we're talking about active time, but yay, California, we also passed part of that proposition that says you're going to be compensated 30 cents, 0.3 or 30 cents per mile that you drive as well. So for people like me and DeKal, we know that, it's not a bad thing to take a 10-mile order.
It really isn't. It really isn't. I spoke to a gentleman who is from South America. I want to say not Brazil. El Salvador, maybe? Okay. I think it's El Salvador, where they have DoorDash.
Okay.
Right? And here's how the worlds are different, though, with that. Because their customer service will basically call you and say, hey, we have a customer who... this person over here declined the order. We need you to pick it up.
Okay.
And he was telling me, like, if I decline it, there's a chance I may not get any more orders, or I could lose my account because I'm not giving the customer the service. I'm not getting them their order.
Yeah, reliability.
Reliability, right?
Talk about it.
So you have people who do DoorDashes on bicycles.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, okay, well, what happens if the merchant doesn't have the food on time? He says, well, will customer service contact you and say, well, what's going on? Why is it late? Well, the merchant isn't ready. He says, well, that rating will go against you. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And there's people who get their orders, claim they never got the order, and people are getting deactivated, and there's no way for them to contact customer service to dispute it because the customer said.
Interesting.
Right? And I'm listening to him tell the story, and I'm like, what happens if, all these different scenarios?
Can I ask, is he considered, I don't even know if taxes work the same, but is he considered an independent contractor like we are? Or is he considered an employee?
If I remember correctly, independent contractor.
Okay.
Independent contractor, which is so easy for them to terminate the delivery people if at any point customer service feels that you're not doing right by the customer.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of customers out there who might want to just be spiteful.
Yeah.
And there's some customer service reps out there who terminating people just because. I want to talk about customer service since I brought that up. What's your opinion on the customer service of DoorDash since you have been dashing?
Well,
right.
So let me just preface this by saying my life prior to gig work was customer service.
All customer service, right.
And not to toot my own horn, but I've always been given accolades for how great my customer service is. So my standard, my bar, may be a little bit higher than the rest. Just putting that out there. That being said, customer service is rough with DoorDash. They are based in a different country, so sometimes there can be a language barrier. But I think even more detrimental than that is they are scripted.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, we call with very specific scenarios, very specific inquiries. And a lot of
sir,
times,
I'm so sorry that you're having this experience. I know how much.
Yeah. So the script, I mean, and time. A lot of times when you call, you're in the middle of an order. You want to, keep things moving, and they're reading their script, and you already know they're going to read 2 minutes worth of script before you can even get into your concerns. And
gotta love that.
Yeah, that part's rough. And then I just think the level of, I'm not even really sure what to call it. The amount of flexibility that the front line of customer service has with DoorDash to even resolve an issue in the moment is extremely limited.
Really?
There's a lot of, we'll call you back or give you an email within 72 hours.
You've experienced that.
A few times.
You've heard some stories. Yeah. Okay.
Both. First-hand and second-hand.
Wow. I never would have thought that.
Right. So that's frustrating.
A little bit.
Frustrating, right?
A little bit. Right.
And it's not, I think, for people who are out here wanting to do their job well, it's hard because you're relying on someone else to push you forward when you wish you could make all the right decisions on your own, and you need this other piece of the puzzle to help you. So it can be frustrating.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Customer service, in my experience in dealing with this particular company, is the people who actually knew what they were doing seem to have been part of that 1,200 or 1,500 layoff that DoorDash did.
Yeah.
I remember a situation that you are speaking about where you had a specific issue, and this particular person knew exactly how to correct my issue. And you probably are talking about, you probably know what issue I'm talking about.
I do.
And he went in there, pushed the button, said, "Hey man, wait 10 minutes and you're good to go." Now, it seems customer service hands are tied more compared to what they were before. And I don't know if it's, here's my conspiracy on it. Businesses love confusion amongst divisions. Think of it as the NFL, NBA. because you're a basketball person. You love the sport.
A little bit.
I mean, you look like an athlete, so you probably put up like 20 and 10.
I mean,
I
was all county back in my day.
Okay, so
we're a long time ago.
WNBA prospect. So you have the WNBA, you have the league, but then you have the teams, you have the agents, and all the different factors involved. So DoorDash has customer service, then you have the Dashers. Service is probably told that us Dashers don't know what the fuck we're talking about, and we're high expectations, unrealistic expectations. We're poor service to customers, and so their thing is to protect the company, like the gatekeeper. Our experience with these script reading customer service reps, there's no empathy. That's what it seems like. I feel that the company's biggest problem is there is no transparency with the customer service, and there is no case-by-case solution that we can look forward to receiving with customer service. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, and looking at it from a business perspective, we're cogs in the wheel.
Right, you said that before,
and
cogs in the wheel.
I think the same for the customer service people that are probably, I mean, who knows? It's probably like the DMV. What's their turnover rate? Every 4 months they're reapplying and hiring new staff. I don't know for sure, but
could be realistically.
So, from a business perspective, who wants to spend 2 weeks properly training someone when you can hand them a bunch of scripts and have them read off of those if they're going to quit in 4 months anyway?
See,
right?
you, not to cut you off, but you bring up a very good point, though, because that's what a lot of customer service tends to be. Just regurgitated script reading whenever you call somebody. That's what it seems. I mean, when I was dealing with Uber, same. Uber Eats, same. DoorDash, same. Even when I'm calling someone regarding anything I got going on, it's almost as if they're calling from, like I'm calling the same apartment building with reps on that turn. You know what I mean?
Are there roosters crowing in the background?
I had one where I heard roosters or chickens or something in the background. Yeah, I'm like, oh, she's working from home. And I thought to myself, well, yeah. So that was interesting to hear kids in the background. But then again, I'm like, okay, they're working remotely because of COVID restrictions, so on and so forth. But then I'm like, are they though? What if it's somebody that's actually just working out on a park bench, living out of a tent? They got a job. Bottom line, they got a job.
Right.
But I do feel the customer service has definitely, man, fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Period. Just in general. But especially when it comes to something like this.
And you would think, I mean, I get it, that business, their prime objective is they want to be profitable.
They want to be profitable.
They want to make money. But you would think that a close second to that would be
customer service
satisfaction, right? I mean, not only the people that you have out there driving and delivering food, but obviously, the end customer, the person who's placing their order. And I think not only us as drivers are dissatisfied with customer service, but customers are dissatisfied with customer service as well. I've had many of those interactions with customers where they've had a rocky time with other people who have delivered their food to them in the past. We'll just leave it at that. And, they've reached out to customer service in different ways, through the app, by calling, and they don't get results that are satisfactory either. And, I mean, you would just think that a company as big as DoorDash is and as well known, I mean, they've got their ads playing during the Super Bowl. They've got their ads
on Roku
in the Warriors arena. Their DoorDash ads.
Right.
So you would think a company that globally recognized would want the feedback from the general public to be positive for the most part.
For the most
part,
you can't
please everyone. We all know that, but you would think that you would pride yourself in that.
Yeah, I used to work in the cell phone industry.
Okay.
And I'm sure you will remember this. Singular Wireless, AT&T, Nextel, all of them. It was always the nicest deals for new customers. Mm-hmm. And they always wanted you to do that 2-year contract. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Free phone plus cash back.
Right.
Right? Bells and whistles, a dog that potty trained itself. You got everything.
Right.
The moment you became an existing customer, you were literally crap-esque to them. Like, the service you got was, well, who cares? You're a cog in the wheel now. We got you, so it doesn't really matter. It's kind of what people think relationships are once you get it. It's kind of like having an ex that treats you one way, and the moment you get comfortable, completely 180. But you can't go nowhere. And someone once told me that, DoorDash kind of reminds them of an ex.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that they entice you and lure you with these beautiful, wonderful gifts. And the moment you get in there, it's just the same. And I think when it comes to customer service, again, like you said, man, I've always thought existing customers are just as important as new customers, because existing customers will refer you new customers. That's a brand of customers, like advertising you don't have to pay other than their regular compensation. So I never understood why companies don't take care of their people. When I worked at Copeland Sports, remember them?
I do.
As undercover security, I always said, you need to respect your law enforcement, your asset protection. You need to respect your undercover security, because we're the eye in the sky and we see what you don't. So a lot of people just take advantage of, you're here, so just do this. I don't care. But I think that's kind of part of where the world is now.
Yeah.
And eventually they're going to get back to what you and I know of customer service.
Let's cross our fingers.
And our toes, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so crucial. And if you have a dasher like yourself or myself who really don't have any faith in the service that we're getting, and we're talking to customers who are like, they don't know what they're talking about over the phone, and we're like, well, we're calling the same number you are. It's just customer service versus dasher support.
Right.
It's probably the same phone with 2 different lines on it.
Yeah.
They just put one on the hold and talk to the other, right? When it comes to how orders are distributed, we kind of had conversations on this before, on who gets which order, who gets what order, and possibly why. Share with the planet Earth who's listening to this E.I.T.H.R podcast. How do you think some of these orders are distributed? Because just probably people who are listening who are customers of DoorDash, and they don't get what we as drivers go through. So you're putting them up on game, like, oh wow, this is what my dasher's probably dealing with when they get an order.
Right. So I have a great example from today.
Yes. Breaking news.
Yeah. So one thing that I do feel DoorDash is trying to do right is to match their most reliable drivers who have proven themselves with their statistics, which we talked about earlier, their acceptance rate and their completion rate, with customers who are ordering a higher amount of food and probably tipping more.
So acceptance rates do matter.
Well, in this scenario,
okay.
I'm feeling pretty confident about it.
Okay.
And I mean, from a business point, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
If you have, customers who are placing $100 orders and tipping, $20+, you want to keep them as customers. You don't want them moving over to Uber Eats. You don't want them.
Not really.
Yeah, you don't want them moving on and, getting a catering delivery. You want them staying on your DoorDash platform.
Mm-hmm.
So today, I received a sushi order. I did not look at the subtotal, but it was 11 rolls, 2 orders of edamame and like a couple soups. So definitely well over $100, probably closer to 200. And I was over 4 miles away from the restaurant. I was on the other side of my Natomas neighborhood, let's just say. And so rather than, and it was peak lunchtime. It was
11 a.m., 12 noon.
11:50, I want to say.
Okay.
So you and I probably know that there were probably at least, we'll say 5, but probably more like 10 or 15 delivery drivers closer to this sushi restaurant than I was. But they sent me. And I'm pretty confident that they sent me because I've proven that I'm reliable.
Right.
And that I needed to drop off on Capitol Mall, which is one of those huge buildings downtown that you and I talked about earlier.
Love that place.
They know that I will go find a parking spot and I won't cancel the order. I'll wait at the restaurant if it's a long wait time for $200 worth of food.
Yes.
And I'm going to provide good customer service to this person that just ordered $200 worth of sushi to keep them coming back for more. So did they send top decliner Joe, who was probably sitting in the parking lot waiting for a sushi order?
Probably
not.
not.
They sent me. 2 other dashers came in while I was waiting for this order because it did take 10 or 15 minutes for it to be ready. And took bags of looking like one item. They didn't give me those orders. They waited to give me, from across the neighborhood, come over here and pick up this, what showed us $13 sushi order going downtown, and paid me $34.
Right.
So.
Again, the orders that people say are lowball orders is all subjective. And whether you're in a bigger market, smaller market, all that matters, right?
For sure.
Now, you said you also dashed in Humboldt.
I did.
Right? How did that vary from a smaller market compared to the state capital here in California?
So I only dashed in like 1.5, 2 hour chunks at a time. So it was a little different scenario than, what I do here on a daily basis.
Right.
But I went up there, I'm trying to think what my acceptance rate would have been. Definitely over 70%. And I know we haven't talked about the large order program. But,
not yet.
I'm a dasher that has been given the key to these larger orders based on reliability. And so I was getting big orders up there. I mean, I got a Kentucky KFC order that, okay, so let's just say this is a very rural part of the state. So it's not going to be like Sacramento where you're driving a mile or 2 for a drop-off. You might need to drive, 5 or 6 or even 10 if you're going to the next town over.
Right.
Which was the case with this one. It was on the south side of Eureka, California, delivering to Arcata, California.
I love Arcata.
2 tiny little cities.
Small little college town.
Yeah, probably 12 miles, I think it was. And I didn't know what to expect. It told me to bring my catering bag, so I knew it was a big order. And yeah, it paid me like $40-something.
That's crazy.
In Little Town, USA.
Imagine living in a small town like that, making an amount of money like that on one order.
Yeah.
That is a gold mine.
Well, it's expensive up there. Cost of living up there is pretty high.
Is it as high as it is here?
Higher.
Probably because of the location.
Housing.
Housing.
Yeah.
Probably because of where it's located, right on the ocean,
yeah,
on the coast. That makes sense.
Gas is crazy up there.
Gas is stupid.
Yeah.
The most expensive gas I've ever seen was going towards Chester. No, was it Chester? Chester, Susanville, like that area. I can't remember. It wasn't Highway 32 though. It was like another route, like through the Redwood rules. It was like at one point, just like 10 years ago. So the prices now was the price at the Shell gas station 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's when gas was at $2.15. And we thought that was expensive.
Yeah.
I would kill to have a $2 a gallon.
Right.
Now for Supreme. We had it good, didn't even know what we had.
Gonna have to move to Arkansas for that. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. But yeah, most rural places like that, man, the gases are astronomically high.
Yeah.
So, LOP, large order program.
Let's do it.
This is your bread and butter.
This is my baby.
I was going to say your baby. This is your second child. So, the first one, what is LOP?
So LOP is the large order program. It's kind of a sub-sector of DoorDash.
Right.
And it is an invite-only program. And so, again, we've been talking a lot about reliability and acceptance rate and all that. DoorDash does not advertise that your acceptance rate is something that is necessary to get into this program. It does require a high completion rate, and it requires the 100 deliveries in a month, all the other things you talked about earlier. But I think most importantly, it requires a need in your market for acceptance into this program. And so I think once Dashers get into this program, they typically don't back out because, just as the name implies, large order program,
literally
you're getting orders over $100. DoorDash asks you to buy a catering bag, so they want you to make sure that you're transporting the food in a safe and secure way. It's just really all those things that come along with being a reliable person. That's how you get into this program. And the dollar amount on some of these orders, mostly tips. I mean, it's really not what DoorDash is paying you. It's the tips, the gratitude from the customers. On some days can really knock your socks off.
Man, can really be worth it.
Yeah. And so a lot of people, I mean, I just had another Dasher ask me about it the other day and asked me if it was worth it. Because I now bring a wagon.
Right. Because those orders be out crazy sometimes.
Right. And I don't want to tip somebody's Thai curry over,
right.
You know. I want to keep things. So a lot of times I pull up to locations with my wagon and my red DoorDash bag, so it's very obvious to everyone around
who you are, what
I'm
you do.
There.
Yes.
Yeah, I just asked, is it worth it? I see you have a wagon. You know, are the catering orders worth it? And you and I spoke about this. I should have said no because there's
God, these are horrible.
There's competition in
right.
this market.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, some days, well, like I said, I had that sushi order earlier today that paid me $34 for, I don't know, 30 minutes of my time. So, I mean, y'all can do the math. Is $60 an hour worth it to you? I'm going to say yes.
I would agree with you. See, and that's one thing I appreciate about this conversation and sharing it with other people is a lot of folks might not know some of these things. And if they are in these circles of people who are just, again, one-sided about what this is, they're not going to understand that this isn't like this for every single person. And again, if you get past the hazing part of it, you get to a program like the LOP where it isn't advertised. They don't talk about it. It is it's like the Illuminati of DoorDash. Right? Invite only.
Garden.
Right. And so once someone opens that door for you and you get these $40, $60, $80, $100 orders, it's like, damn. Now, you're not going to get these orders on a regular basis every single day.
Some markets
but do. some like I'm shocked, like you do on a regular. I mean, you get
not every day,
not like $100 orders every day, but you get some pretty pennies that will make a person say, 2 of these and I'm good for the day.
Yeah.
Right. If you get 3 or 4 of those a week,
right,
it literally bills are paid within that week.
Right. Changes your tax.
It changes your tax. It changes your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So is it worth it? Yes. Now, was there anything else you wanted to talk about the LOP?
No, but I mean, just to kind of bring this full circle, talk about the elephant in the room. So, YouTube has a community of, not only DoorDashers, but people who drive.
Right.
Just say that. Food delivery drivers.
Gig drivers.
That make videos.
Yes.
And caring about being in the large order program, caring about keeping your stats high and being a top dasher, 7 months ago would get you kicked out of
a group. Right.
Or you would definitely be the elephant in the room.
You definitely
bringing
would.
Those types of, your data on what you're seeing of, when I start taking 70 out of 100 orders, I'm noticing overall my orders are just a lot better in general. That was not the mindset. Like I said, you were definitely bringing the elephant into the room with that conversation. As of about maybe 60 days ago, there has been a real shift online of some of these people who, not only talk bad about people like you and I, but call people like you and I clowns.
Really?
And now they're making videos about being a top dasher.
Oh, so now top dasher is the bell at the ball.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So now we're the popular kid.
Right.
Now we're the inspiration to be, okay.
And I'll admit, I've gone in the comments a couple times and said, this is what I was talking about 6 months ago. So,
It's interesting when someone, and again, that's the purpose of the E.I.T.H.R podcast, is even if you don't agree with something, at least you're going to be more informed on what you don't agree with.
Right.
And then when you get information that you never allowed yourself to be told or to hear or to accept it, and you process it, it's like, wait, you know what? Ever since I became a top dasher, my orders have improved. Oh, newsflash. Whoever would have thunk that? So that's the beauty about having an open mind to a perspective that might differ from yours, because you'll learn something. And that's dope. That's awesome. In the last 2 months, there's a wave of motherfuckers who are sitting back and say, hey, Sarah, I want to be like you when I grow up. And you're kind of like, well, yeah, so do I. Right? And I think that's cool, man.
They're claiming it like they invented the wheel. But
of
that's
course.
fine. But
the wheel
fine.
and fire.
Right.
Well, yeah, okay.
They get more clicks that way.
You know what? Yeah. Good for them.
Right.
Because I had this conversation with several people, and I've had this on a few different episodes, where the way people learn nowadays is arguing. If I have a question, I'll ask you, hey, what is this? Hey, why is this way versus that way? So why is top dasher worth it? Why would I want to be a top dasher versus a top decliner? Why would I want to do this? Why would I want to do that? You explain to me why, because you're answering my question. Then I turn around and say, okay, I'm going to process that, think about that, weigh it out, and sit back and say, you know what, you're right. Or I never thought about it that way. That's good. And I'm going to take the information that you gave me and, and move forward, in a way that it needs to be. So nowadays, what most people do is they'll take your information, argue it. They won't accept it. They'll combat it. They'll contradict it. They'll be very condescending to it. Then they'll go to the information that they think is more valid, a blog site on Google or someone who knows what they know. That person will tell them exactly what you said. So now it's reinforced by somebody that they admire, agree with, see eye to eye. Or they'll think about it in private. You're not around, no one else is around. They're kind of just sitting there in their basement. It makes sense because now it's clicking. Then they'll go on and, hey guys, I just invented the wheel. Here's how it works. Hey, I just created fire. Here's what you do. And they'll spew out the information that you just gave them. And now they're in conversations with other people with this newfound info. And you're kind of like, bro.
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Bro, like,
in this community.
You called me an idiot for doing this. Now all of a sudden you're the advocate for it?
Right.
Wow.
Right.
But that's kind of how the world is. Like when, for me, sports talk. They'll say whatever about a player, about a team, about an owner, whatever. They'll go into a different group that they don't know that you're a part of and basically copy and paste what you said, and that's their stance. It's almost like they can't allow you to know you made sense. You were right. I can't learn from you. I have to argue, and that's how people retain information. I don't get that shit. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But I'm old school. I'm old school with that. So I think that's great. But I also kind of laugh at people because what's wrong with just saying, you know what, that's a very good point. I never thought about that. You're right. That makes sense. Thank you for that. I don't understand why people have a hard time admitting they don't know something, especially when they don't know something.
Right. Even I guess taking it a step further, that's a good point, is, show me some of your data. Like, I'm hearing what you're saying. Let me see how it works for you. Even if you decide that it's not what you want to do, even if you want to wait around for your $12 or that's fine.
That's cool.
But you haven't even dug any deeper into the opposing theory.
Right. You haven't even looked into what it is that you're disagreeing with to find out if it's actually wrong or not. Right. You're just dying on a hill for no reason.
Unhappily, too, which is funny.
Right.
Even funnier with this conversation right here is the 7 months ago people that are now turning a new leaf 2 months ago. They're so much happier. They were complaining and name calling and battling with each other. Right. And now that they have found something that's working a little bit better, it's changed their whole mindset. It's
crazy how that works for some people, man. Yeah. I get it. But I don't get it. Yeah. I get it, but I don't get it.
Right.
I'm going to ask this question when it comes to being a woman dashing. What is that? Because there's a lot of women who are hesitant to do any type of gig work, Uber, delivery, whatever.
Right.
Did you have any hesitations on being a woman doing this because of you out and about driving, certain neighborhoods you got to pick up from, certain neighborhoods you got to drop off in? Is any of that still in the back of your mind, or are you to the point now? It's like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's because I'm a woman, because I've been on a couple different panels with all women gig workers, and their mindset is a little bit different than mine. I think just safety in general, whether or not I'm a woman or not. But in the beginning, when I first started working gig, I was definitely conscious of, do I want to pick people up at a bar at closing time?
Right.
Do I want to deliver to areas that I know because I watch the news that there's a lot of crime over here?
Right.
But for me, for the most part, just the way that I've kind of customized my schedule, I don't ever feel unsafe. I mean, not on, maybe on a case-by-case basis, like, oh, there's a vicious dog barking behind this fence, but that could be anywhere. That could be at any time of the day.
Right.
But I'm honestly, the scariest thing for me right now is other drivers. In general. On the road. Running red lights.
People running stop signs, not merging, using their blinker, not turning. Oh my gosh, see, now it is rabbit hole. So when someone turns on my right-hand side, they're at the intersection, and they turn to get into the lane or the road that I'm on. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you turn in the corresponding lane that you're in into the new intersection.
Right.
Why is it people want to turn all the way across with no blinker?
Yeah.
Or they drive in between the two lanes so they can decide if I want to go in this lane or this lane. People, how the hell did you get your license? First of all, do you have licenses? Let's start there. One of my biggest issues, like you said, is other people driving more than anything else. More than delivering to a certain neighborhood. Because I have, like you mentioned, driving down the road, the cross intersection has a stop sign. My lane does not have a stop sign. But the car that's perpendicular to me ain't stopping while driving 80 miles per hour. And they almost look at you on Arden Way, because we love the Arden market so much. Driving down Arden, I'm turning into the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, yeah.
That lane,
That's a
green.
weird intersection
Right?
there.
They did it so where you stop and have to look at how about Arden.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know that.
Right.
So as I'm turning left to go into the parking lot, because I was doing a Total Wines pickup.
Okay. Oh, you're infringing on your girl's territory.
Hey, listen, it wasn't my fault. I was at my spot and they called me. Wasn't me. So dude's coming down the street, 70 miles, baby. Not even that slow. His light's clearly red because mine is obviously green. And as I'm going, I see him and I start to slow down and stop. And he's looking at me like he's daring me to turn while he runs this red light. The problem is if I wasn't aware of that or didn't have a conscience about not getting into an accident, he easily would have T-boned me.
Or we're just clicking your phone because another DoorDash order was coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the app did something, I had to bring it back up.
Yeah.
Other drivers, man, what's some of the issues that you've been hearing about other Door Dashers in restaurants? Like, one pet peeve you have with like other Dashers. Like, if Dashers could stop doing this shit, or these things, what would it or what would they be?
I mean,
some of your pet peeves.
So, my customer service background,
Yes.
I have a lot. I guess the easy ones are, if you don't go home and realize that you've said thank you at least 10 times that day,
okay,
something's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a customer service industry, probably 20 times.
Right.
And I see, drivers, they're not even really paying attention. They're not even really aware of their surroundings. They definitely don't have a hot bag to keep the food hot in.
Right.
They might be wearing flip-flops. They've parked illegally. They come shuffling into the restaurant and they just kind of shove their phone in the face of the person at the counter. And then, there's really no interaction, and then they get their order, they don't say thank you. Just the whole interaction in general. But I would just say probably impatience. A lot of drivers don't have it. And it ties into all the other things that we're saying today about Top Dasher and reliability and all that.
Right.
If you're not, with any job, really, with any job, if you're not going to be professional and patient, your day's not going to go well. You're not going to make money.
Right.
You're going to have grumpy interactions with
people.
You might get T-boned because you're not paying attention. You're in a bad mood. And you're not really going to want to get up and work the next day.
Right. You're going to regret doing it.
Right.
One of mine would be the treatment Dashers give staff.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I come from a customer service background. And I mean, we go back to customer service when you weren't allowed to have any phones on the sales floor. Nowadays, they make the customer wait so they can finish their tweet or finish their post or finish their video. But when I go into a restaurant and I can easily tell they're judging the Dashers that are in there based on the Dashers that came before them. Like just poor communication, right? If the merchant has instructions that say, don't go past this line, why do y'all walk past that line? It's clearly right there. It says, do not pass here. Or if it says, ring bell once, why are you ringing the bell 4 times? You piss the staff off, right? And then one thing I would say, in addition to what Dashers probably need to stop doing, is taking other orders that don't belong to you. Here's what I mean by that. Let's use a restaurant, for example, Chipotle.
Okay, Chipotle.
You go into Chipotle, they have a shelf.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if the order for Sarah is who I'm here to pick up for, it's not there. Hey, I'm here to pick up Sarah. What happened to the order? Oh, that order was done. Oh, someone took it. How can someone have taken it? Because I'm here to pick it up. Right? I get it. It's free food for somebody. But you not only took someone else's food that paid for it, but you're now screwing with somebody else's money because now they have to wait for that order to be remade. And if Chipotle is as busy as it normally is, now you mess with somebody else's account because they're going to probably cancel the order because they don't feel like waiting, or they're going to be stuck in this restaurant so now the customer's pissed off at you because you're late bringing their food, regardless of the reason. That affects your rating. And now the merchant is looking at the next Dasher coming in as a potential thief too. Right? That's what I mean. If the order doesn't belong to you, don't take that shit. It just, you would think common sense, right? But uncommon sense is kind of more of the thing. So I want to get into one last thing, which is this program, this potential treat you're going to be bringing to the world. We're not going to get too much into it,
okay,
because it's still in the process. But can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you got going on currently now?
Sure.
And what it is that you are going to be bringing the world in the future?
Sure. So I'm late to the game, but about 7 months ago, I started a YouTube channel.
And that YouTube channel is called
Delivering with a Purpose.
And how do they find? Is it Delivering with a Purpose, one word?
It is.
Okay, so
on
there's
YouTube,
no.
it's
Okay.
Delivering with a Purpose.
Okay.
And I guess initially I started the channel because I've been doing delivery for a while, and I was looking for something else to kind of bring a little bit more spice to my day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on YouTube and, looking at other gig tubers, and a lot of it was negativity. And as you probably hear through this conversation, I'm not a negative person. I like to help people. And so, it kind of blossomed from there.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put a little bit of helpful information out in the world and bring some creativity to my day as well by, filming and, talking to myself in my car, basically.
Mm-hmm. Having a meeting.
Yeah, having a meeting several times a day.
Yes.
And so I've taught myself how to video edit, and that's been fun. It's been kind of a creative outlet for myself. But I kind of feel like things are getting a little bit stale. I'm not really a niche in the market. There are a lot of people doing this. There are a lot of people in the United States that bring you into their car with them and drive around and show you, how much money they're making, what restaurants they're going to, what have you. And while I think that that's a helpful tool for other, gig workers that might be out on the road and want to look to someone for advice, I think there's more to it than that. Kind of what I talked about at the top of the hour here was, I got out of the mundane corporate America because I feel like there's more. There's more out there. And so I'm kind of rolling out 3 steps that I want to do because I have been making the ride-along videos. But I would like to interact with my community more. And so my plans are, I'm based in Sacramento. Don't get me wrong, we have our problems here, but Sacramento is a cool city. We have a lot of events going on. We have sports teams. We have great weather in the spring and summer. We have a ton of restaurants. We're known as the farm to fork capital of the United States.
Yes.
And so I want to start building a little bit more community with restaurants and merchants and bringing, kind of the sights and sounds of Sacramento to my viewers. I do get a lot of comments when I post some of the murals and the Tower Bridge and the Capitol, and so I want to expand on that. But ultimately, what I would love to do is I would like to start like a destination dash and move outside of Sacramento, interact with other dashers. Decal and I have talked about this. Maybe bring like a little bit of taxi cab confession.
Dasher confession.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe, I definitely have done a lot of networking with dashers and Uber drivers in other states and cities that I would love to go meet them in their city, ride along with them, ask them questions while they're driving, and bring their city to my channel. And I'm excited about that. I want to travel, and so I think that the flexibility of being in the gig economy and being able to really drive in any city or state that
literally
we choose to.
Literally.
Yeah, so get out there and see the country.
I think that would be dope because, like you said, you travel from northern, central, southern California. If you want to go east, you can go east. If you want to hop on a plane, pick a state. Let them know you're going there and connect with some of the people that you have networked with over, your time of building your channel. And
I have 2 offers already.
Really?
Philly and St. Petersburg, Florida. I already have a room if I want to come.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of those, have you been to either one of those places before?
I have been to St. Petersburg, Florida.
Really? Where in Florida is that?
It is on the western side of Florida. So it's
closer
to
Tampa, Georgia. Okay. Tampa side.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know how I really feel about going to Florida right now. That's a
little bit
conversation.
That's
day.
That's right.
But I'm already planning on going to Philadelphia in the spring. And
really?
Yeah, I wasn't really gonna probably drive. It was gonna be more of a fully vacation time while I was there.
Got you.
But I might, just gather some
intel.
We'll sights and sounds of the city, and maybe talk to some dashers, go into some restaurants, and just get some face to face. Even if I'm not personally dashing at the moment.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but yeah. So I'm excited.
I know you said during the springtime.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you want to see? I know you said vacation, sightsee, but is there anything in particular you want to do and see while you're in Philadelphia?
So I did a solo trip. I visited a friend in Pennsylvania 2 years ago, and I got on the train and went to Philadelphia by myself.
Nice.
Rented one of those bikes,
yes,
those electric bikes, and cruised around like the real heart of the city center. And I want to do that again. I went on the wrong day of the week, which I found out Tuesday is when all the museums are closed.
Really?
And so I only got to go to a few. And so I want to go back and then bring my daughter, who's an adult, and we want to see all the
girl trip. Yeah,
we want to see the Liberty Bell and all the historic things about Philadelphia. Nice. And it's a cool city, very diverse. My initial thoughts about Philadelphia when I was there, it was so clean. The streets were so clean compared
to what we got out
here. The situation we have right now out here.
Right. But how long ago was that?
It was November of 2021. Oh,
so COVID already happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was my first time on the plane after COVID.
Really?
Yeah. So it was cold. It was very brisk in Philadelphia in November, but it was amazing.
Yeah, see, Philly has never been one of those cities that I thought about traveling to. Not to say that I wouldn't travel to, but that's good, man. See, I would go maybe check out an Eagles game.
Oh, well, I was thinking Sixers, but...
Or Sixers.
Allen Iverson will always have a piece of my heart.
I mean, AI, yeah, AI. I miss that guy, AI. Okay, so your YouTube channel is Delivering with a Purpose.
Yes.
All one word.
All one word.
So if you guys go ahead and do that, all one word, Delivering with a Purpose. Do you have let an IG page?
I do. Same name, just with underscores between each one of the words.
So delivering underscore with underscore a underscore purpose.
You got it.
All lowercase. It's not key sensitive.
I don't think it's case sensitive, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, listen, thank you very much. This is my first in-office guest on the E.I.T.H.R podcast. I appreciate.
I just do want to say
yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I feel super grateful that you trusted me enough to be your first in-house guest.
No problem.
Hopefully I set the bar medium level.
Right.
After me.
No, I mean, the acceptance rate is definitely going to be like 75%.
Oh, geez.
So, I mean, it's almost green, but, you got a few, $5 orders you got to take.
I'm not opposed to hard work at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is, for anyone who's listened to the podcast, I hope you guys got some information out of it that you normally would not have got. Make sure you check out her YouTube page, Delivering with a Purpose. Make sure you follow that Instagram. And I hope this was informative, man. Like I said, thank you very much. And if we ever do this again, if you ever have the time to do this again, there's a greater chance that the equipment's going to be a little bit different. Okay. Because my laptop does not accept the software to do the podcast to where I would have a microphone, you would have a microphone. So everything's done from the mobile device. So when you saw me, I was adding additional background music. Obviously you can't hear, but I can. That kind of matched everything that was going on. So I didn't want you thinking that I was being disrespectful or anything like that. So that's kind of what that's got going on. So this is the E.I.T.H.R podcast with D-Cal here at the GNS HQ. You guys can follow Instagram and Twitter, which is the same, the E.I.T.H.R, E.I.T.H.R. Make sure you follow the parent company on TikTok at the GNS Inc. Subscribe. You can also download the Spreaker account, S-P-R-E-A-K-E-R, and create a profile. You can follow us there. Man, thank you very much, guys, for your time. I appreciate you listening to this, and we will be back again in the near future. It's your boy D-Cal. I'm out.